Alright, so today we've got a pretty special lot of 12 Sony camcorders, all that use a variety of media types. And I paid $200 for this lot of 12 digital camcorders by Sony, and I'm hoping that my investment will pay off. I would like to get somewhere north of $600 in value out of this, and I think it's doable. Normally what I try to do is buy largely newer SD card memory or hard disk drive camcorders. They tend to be a little more reliable in terms of actually working when I buy them. So let's go ahead and jump right in. If you're new here, hi, my name's Kevin. I've been buying and selling used digital cameras for over 10 years, mainly on eBay, and I've sold over 15,000 cameras during that time period. And this is one of my favorite things to do, is buy and sell untested lots, get them into working condition if they have minor issues, move them on to the next buyer that will hopefully use them for years to come. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's start with the Sony DCR-SR42 camcorder, and this uses Sony's NP-FH50 battery. And if you're new here, you may know that because I've sold so many camcorders, I tend to have a lot of batteries and chargers for them, so I'm able to test these versus having to buy the batteries and chargers separately and then do it that way, which makes it go by a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and get a battery for this and give it a test. Alright, so we've got the camcorder here, and it looks to be physically in good shape. The screws have a little bit of wear, and that's fairly common depending on where you live, especially in salty air climates, if you live by a beach. And it just uses this little top toggle to turn on and off. It does turn on. It's a good start. You know what, I found that Sony Handycam digital camcorders that use hard disk drives and that use flash memory or SD memory tend to be fairly reliable camcorders, even after 10-15 years of the original production date. Oh, lens cover is closed. I was like, why is it so dark? So this camcorder does power on and is in working condition. So I'll go ahead and record a quick clip. Just hit that red button on the back there. Right here. That'll get the clip started. And then this has a touchscreen. It was one of the first digital camcorders that Sony made that utilized a touchscreen. Okay, yeah, it's in good working condition. So this doesn't come with all the originally included AV cables if you were to sell it, and that would affect the value in a bundle a bit. But in good working condition, like I said before, this is going to have a value of about $75 to $80 if you pair it with a charger. So that's a good start. Camcorder number 2, we've got this Sony here. It's a blue Handycam. Model number is HDR-CX240, which is one of the most popular Sony Handycams that was made before they stopped producing it. So this camcorder can charge through this built-in USB slot on the hand strap, or it has a removable battery that's the Sony NP-BX1 battery. Let's see if this guy's got any charge. I don't think so. The cool thing about Handycams is when you open the screen, it turns on the camcorder. So super quick on and off operation. I used one of these for a number of years. They're quite handy and they can record for pretty long periods of time. Got a replacement Sony NP-BX1 battery here. Put it in real quick. Flip open the LCD. Cosmetically, it looks to be in decent shape. There we go. That's the sound we were looking for. Yeah, it's in pretty good shape actually. Alright, has me go through the language. I'm going to set the time zone real quick and set the date. And let's see if she works. And it is working good. The value on this camcorder in the used market is around 125 bucks now if you pair it with a small memory card and cables if you have them. So that's great. That's a good start. This is a very common model that you'll see all over the place still in the used market. It's very widely available. Moving on to number 3, let's do the big boy here. This is a Sony CCD-TRV65 camcorder. And this is a High8 Tape camcorder. And if you're not familiar with High8 Tape, it looks like this. Big guy. Big tape, normally they have about 60-minute record limits. This doesn't have a battery. It uses the Sony NP-F9 series batteries. First thing I noticed when I flip open the LCD hinge is we've got delamination and some issues with the LCD screen. I had a viewer that commented on one of my videos almost a year ago on why exactly and what caused that. I forget off the top of my head. But normally that will affect the value, and obviously the display will be affected visually as well. But no matter, we'll still give it the old college try. I happen to have a battery here, a big replacement battery for this. So let's see if it turns on. These have night shot mode too, which is pretty cool. I think they filmed Blair Witch Project with something similar to this, or maybe a Canon equivalent that utilized night shot. So that's kind of a neat feature that's on some of these older Sony Handycams. Does power on. I see a blue screen there. We've got a very black screen. Let's make sure there's no lens is open. And we have the black screen of death. So visually what that looks like is just literally just a black screen. So there's nothing going on there visually, when you should see obviously something through either the viewfinder or through the LCD here. So potentially a sensor issue or something going on internally with the camcorder. So the tape mechanism you access by right here. You flip open this and then you press the eject button, which is right there. So I'll go ahead and hit that real quick. And it pops open, as you can see there. So the tape would just go in right here, like so. And then you would record to it, and then you could play back through the unit, or if you had a tape player that fit this type of tape, then you could do that as well. So I won't assign any value to this for now. Even in the parts market, there's a little bit of value in these because they're often broken, and there's people that are able to fix them. Okay, next model. All right, going to another tape-based model. This is a Sony DCR-HC38, which has a really nice 40x optical zoom, which was quite good when this camcorder came out, I want to say around 15 years ago. Problem with tape-based mechanisms like this is that the success rate after all these years generally isn't super high. It actually uses the same battery type as the first camcorder that we tested, the Sony MP-FH50. And I have one of those right here. I'll go ahead and put it in. We know it's working. And it uses just this little toggle here to turn on and off, so we'll go ahead and do that. Green light came on. Biggest issue that I see with these models, the Sony DCR-HC models, is the touchscreen is broken. And that's integral to actually being able to use the camcorder, and it renders it almost valueless. But let's see if this one works. You can see the touchscreen here. So if we go ahead and try setting the time, let's see if yeah, it's actually working. Great start. So the number 2 issue that we can see with this is the tape-based mechanism has problems, and we can test that as well. This also utilizes night shot, which is cool. I'm going to go ahead and open the tape mechanism. There is a tape inside. I'll go ahead and remove it and use my own tape, which I know is working. And there are mini DV tape cleaners that you can use to clean the heads off of these units, because dust can cause some issues and it can cause like checkerboard patterns in the recording. I'm going to go ahead and test it. We use that red button in the back here to start and stop. We'll do that, and we'll record a quick clip here of the office. And I'd like to test with audio as well, so I make sure that I'm talking or there's some sort of audio going on in the background. Normally I record like a 15 or 20 second clip. Go ahead and stop it. And then to change the mode to play, you just hit this toggle, same on off but the opposite direction. And we'll go to play edit. And I'm going to utilize the touchscreen to go back to the start of the video clip. Happens very quickly. And as you can see there, it did work, and everything looks good. There's no bars or issues with the playback, and it uses a very common USB type for data transfer to your PC. I don't have mini DV cables or any AV cables to test those functions, but generally that's an uncommon issue to have, is having issues with those ports, although it can happen rarely. Okay, this camcorder does have a small ding on the top of the unit that will affect the value a little bit. In great working condition with all the original accessories in box, I've seen this sell for $125 to $150, but with the slight cosmetic issues, the value on this camcorder is going to be right around 90 bucks. With that unit, we have eclipsed the purchase price of this close to $300, so we're off to a very good start. I had a pretty good idea, because I've sold all of these units before when I bought these from the estate sale, of what their value was if they worked. So I factor in, you know, maybe with camcorders, especially the newer digital types, kind of a defect rate of around 20% not working. So all of that factors into the purchase price and what I'm willing to pay for these units. All right, well, we might as well do another mini DV test real quick. We've got a older model, Sony DCR-TRV22, which is also a mini DV tape. This uses Sony's NP-FM battery, so I think I've got one in here somewhere, hopefully. Okay, power's on. That's a good start. I don't know if you're able to see any of that. So camcorder power's on. I'm going to go ahead and open the tray, which is accessed by the bottom here. There's an open eject button right here. So I'm going to slide that open, and we will eject the tape, if there's one in there. There is. And I'll go back to my original tape. Okay, we've got a C3123 error. So I'm going to go ahead and open it and eject and put it back in. C3123 error. And then open it back up, get my tape back out. Very common issue to have is tape mechanism problems with these older mini DV and High8 Tape camcorders. That's a bummer. In good working condition, the value on this is around $100. Even not working, because it does power on, if you just showed that it had an error, if you were to list something like this on eBay, the value on this would be probably around 20 bucks. So there is a bit of value, even though it is not in working condition. Okay. Oh, we have another media type. The Sony DCR-DVD101, which I believe was one of their first mini DVD camcorder models. Uses a small DVD disc. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than a regular DVD. So Sony utilized these, and Hitachi and a couple other brands, for a period of a few years. It wasn't adopted for a super long time frame. These don't have as much value, actually, oddly enough, as the older tape-based models if they're working, nor the newer flash media or hard drive models. Okay. No touchscreen here. I think this was made in like 2003 or 2004, so it's about 20 years old. And it does power on and does appear to be working. The zoom is working. To open the mini DVD tray, you just slide this toggle right here. And make sure you have a little bit of space so it'll open after a few seconds. And that is the size of the DVD that we're talking about. So quite small, as you can see. So this unit's in good working condition. If you were to pair this, if you have some cables to pair with it, with a charger, the value still is not super high, around 40, 50 bucks on this. Okay, next model, Sony DCR-SR47. So similar to that first Sony DCR-SR42 that we had. 60x optical zoom, so quite good. This thing will run for a pretty long period of time recording-wise, and it's got a 60 gig internal memory, which was pretty decent for its day. Kind of topped out around 120 gig back then. Also had, I think, recording for stills only to the Memory Stick Pro Duo card. Uses the Sony NP-FH50 battery, which I've got right here. So I'll go ahead and put in charged one in. And flip open this hinge and see if it powers on, and it does. So my success rate, as I said before, on these is quite good. It uses a very common USB type, so you can include a cable pretty easily. And let's see, got some footage on there. I'll go ahead and format real quick. It's quite good condition. Just get the LCD and the lens cleaned up a little bit. And value on this is going to be right around $85 with a charger. So that's a good deal. These are pretty easy to test, and they rarely have recording or playback issues. So, all right, we'll finish off the hard disk drive models with the Sony DCR-SR45, which is actually a hybrid recording. It can record to a Sony Memory Stick Pro Duo or to the 30 gig internal memory, which at standard def will hold, I think, over 24 hours of footage. So pretty long recording time on this. Uses the same NP-FH50 battery and turns on right here. I'll go ahead and turn it on real quick. Powers on. They never really changed that that noise after all the years. Even the newer Sony Handycam models made up through 2016, 2017 utilize that. Startup noise. And the lens cover toggle is right here. So I'll go ahead and flick that and that'll open up. And this looks good. So this is also in good working condition. This also has night shot. So night shot, if we flip it to on, you'll see everything kind of goes to a greenish tint. So if we turned off all the lights, then you'd get an idea of kind of what I was talking about with having pretty good low light performance on this model. Turn that back off. Value on the Sony DCR-SR45 is going to be about $100 if you pair it with a cable and a charger. So it's all kind of adding up here. I think we eclipsed $500 so far in value from the original investment. And we've got 4 camcorders left, and they're all mostly newer models, it looks like. Let's start with the Sony HDR-CX380, which is probably an 8 to 10 year old Sony Handycam model. It uses Sony's NP-FV50 battery. I've got a number of over here. And slide it in there. And this has a built-in 16 gig memory, and it also can record to either SD or to a Memory Stick Pro Duo card. And it actually has a memory card in there. It's got a 16 gig SD card. We'll flip open the screen and turn it on. Has some tape residue on the top there, as you can see. Should be able to get that off. I use this stuff to get it off. Someone was asking in a prior video. Not sponsored or anything. Matzenbrocker's Lift Off. It's technically a latex paint remover, but it's water-based and biodegradable. Not super nasty, doesn't leave your hands feeling too icky like some of the other chemical compound cleaners that I've tried. So I've been using that now for like 6 or 7 years. It gets really sticky adhesive stuff off. I'll have a link down below in the details section of the video for it. But it's pretty inexpensive. It's like 8 or 10 bucks, I think. And that bottle will last me like 6 months, even though I use it like every day. So it does power on, but as you can see, we've got an LCD problem. A ton of issue right here with dead lines. So let's go ahead and see if it actually works. Most of the time that's display only. It looks like it might have been impacted. So I'll record some footage and playback, but normally the playback should be fine. But this is going to affect the value in a pretty big way. I sell this model fairly regularly. In good working condition without that problem, you're looking at a value of somewhere around 125. With that issue, I'm going to put a value of somewhere around 60 on this model. Okay, Sony HDR-CX160. This is a 16 gig built-in memory camcorder that also takes SD and memory stick Pro Duo cards. No memory stick in there. We'll see if this one's got some charge. Doesn't look like it. Charge battery in there. Power's on. And we'll go through the quick menu setup. And record a clip. The LCD looks good on this one, so no problems there. Pretty smooth. Sony's zoom mechanism is always very smooth, which I rather enjoy. Nothing worse than shooting video and having like jerky footage. It's pretty awful. So they've always done a pretty good job with that. I'm gonna go ahead and format the memory real quick. And the value on this Sony HDR-CX160, if you pair it with a charger and a USB cable, you're looking at somewhere around 85 bucks for this. Again, more if it's in better condition or if it had a box or accessories. But that's not a bad value there. 2 camcorders left. Sony HDR-CX330. Got a little bit of wear on the front there. It takes 9.2 megapixel stills. This has a 60x optical zoom. There's a little bit of tape residue on the top there. Let's see if it turns on. I don't think this has any built-in memory. It records to a micro SD or a micro memory stick Pro Duo M2 card. Doesn't have a touchscreen either. It uses this little joystick and there's a button built in to move. Oh, lots of tennis footage on this one. Looks like a pro tournament or college or something. That's kind of neat. Okay, the zoom works good. Okay, yep. This camcorder is in good working condition. Does have some minor wear. Clearly was used a fair amount. But value of the Sony HDR-CX330 is going to be about $115 with accessories. As you can see, we've had better luck with the newer type camcorders for sure. Okay, Sony HDR-CX240 in black this time. And this uses the NPPX1 battery. We're starting where we left off, just in a different color. How interesting. This one should work. Power light came on. Turns on. I go through the menu real quick. Very lightweight. I mean, this is like, it feels almost like a toy, but it actually takes pretty good video. Small sensor size. Okay. Yep. So this one's also in good working condition. So value on this one in good working condition is going to be similar to the blue. About $125 on this model. And with that, we are out of camcorders. Definitely exceeded the $600 target that I had set for all of those 12 models, even with a couple models that didn't work at all. If you have any of those models that I just went through and tested, I would love to know your feedback on how long you used it for, if you still use it. Camcorders, I think, are still maybe don't get quite the love they deserve for their practicality. But let me know your thoughts down below.